Joseph Parker gets a 12-round split decision win over Dereck Chisora. I'm going to jump straight into the scoring of this fight. So the New Zealand judge, Andrew Bell, scored it 115-113 for Parker. The British judge, Howard Foster, had it the same score but for Chisora, 115-113. And the Polish judge had it 116-111 for Parker. Now, I don't necessarily have an issue with these first two scorecards. And it's not surprising, is it, that they both see it narrowly for the guy from their country. But the 116-111, is that the fight that you saw, folks, in favor of Parker? It's definitely not the fight I saw. I think politics did play a part in the scoring of this fight with that particular judge. That's my opinion. I'm not making any accusations. It's just an opinion. Because I cannot get my head around how he saw it that wide for Joseph Parker. If any of you guys can explain it to me, feel free in the comment section below. It was a tale of two halves, this fight. You had Dereck Chisora dropping Joseph Parker in the opening seconds of the bout. Parker back straight up into a corner, which is where you definitely don't want to be against Dereck Chisora. And he learned his lesson to some extent. I mean, he was backing up into corners all the way through the fight, but he was timing Chisora whereby he would lean forward as Chisora came onto him. He would lean forward so as to be inside Chisora's hooks, because Chisora throws the hooks quite wide. So he'd just lean his head forward, and then the hooks would kind of sail over the back of Joseph Parker's head. And often he would clinch Chisora when he was coming out of a corner, and then he would do this veteran move where he would turn him and he would push Chisora back against the ropes, which is tactically a very smart thing to do. But in the first round, Chisora just marched him straight into the corner, hit him with a right hand, which kind of landed on the ear. They said it was the back of the head, but to me it looked like it was on the ear. And down Joseph Parker went. Chisora brought the heat. Parker was uncomfortable, but, you know, Parker clearly had trained for this kind of fight. He never looked overwhelmed to me, emotionally, mentally. He knew that Chisora was going to bring this kind of pressure, but he wasn't dealing with it very effectively. Chisora was backing him up to the ropes far too easily. You know, I thought maybe Parker could establish better distance than this. I think he established better distance when he fought Ruiz. I think for the most part, he established better distance when he fought Takam. But here against Chisora, he wasn't able to establish that distance. And obviously, we have to credit Chisora for the relentlessness, the head movement, which is something Andy Ruiz didn't have back then. Bobbing and weaving, making it difficult for Parker to tag him, and then wailing away with the body shots, big looping shots over the top. So Parker was struggling to deal with Chisora's head movement, his physical strength, his relentlessness. And the only real answer he had early in the fight is just to clinch as much as possible, to try and push Chisora back in a lot of those clinches. And that tactic did start paying dividends late in the fight, where, again, Parker would grab Chisora, either push him up against the ropes as a way of turning out of a corner, or sometimes in the middle of the ring, he would wrap Chisora up and then walk him all the way back to the ropes. And particularly when you're fighting a pressure fighter, this not only helps you in terms of breaking the pressure fighter's attacks, but psychologically, the pressure fighter is then put on the back foot. It's a very discouraging thing. A pressure fighter wants to come forward. He wants to have this momentum. And then you're stopping that. And not only are you stopping it by the clinch, but then you're pushing him back, putting him in the reverse gear, which he doesn't like to go in. So that became more and more of a factor as the fight went on. And Chisora was putting so much into his punches. it's not like Parker became better later in the fight. It's just that Chisora was getting tired, and certain rounds he had to take off because he'd put so much into the previous round. And that allowed a slow round where Joseph Parker was able to pop a jab, land some little shots here and there. There was a moment in the fight where Chisora kind of rocked back against the ropes, a couple moments actually, where I was thinking, is Chisora hurt? But then when you look on replay, nothing solid really landed. I just think Chisora was either trying to bait Joseph Parker in, or he was just trying to take a rest, you know? So I feel like nobody was really seriously hurt in the fight. Even the knockdown, even though it was a legit shot from Dereck Chisora, Parker wasn't particularly hurt by it. And I would say at no point from what I can remember did Joseph Parker hurt Chisora. Yeah, he had him up against the ropes a few times and flurried, but I don't think Chisora was really hurt. So, as I say, Chisora was putting so much into the rounds, he couldn't sustain it through the second half of the fight for every round. That allowed Parker to start picking rounds up. Did he pick up, again I go back to the scorecards, enough rounds to come out with this kind of scorecard, 116, 111? To me, that's really a head scratcher and a head shaker. And when we talk about politics, Dereck Chisora definitely doesn't do himself any favors. Because the way he was carrying on before the fight, I'm not saying it's right that politics should be involved in boxing, but I'm just talking about the reality of it. When he is creating a headache for everybody by threatening to pull out of the fight at the last second, whether that was him trying to get more money out of Eddie Hearn or some harebrained tactic to try and boost pay-per-view sales, or whether he was just trying to get himself riled up for the fight, because Dereck Chisora often likes to do crazy things before fights to get his blood pumping. Whatever the case may be, these kind of antics are a headache for a lot of people. A headache for the broadcaster, a headache for the British board, a headache for so many people. And therefore, when it comes to a close fight, they're going to think about that. You understand? When it comes to close rounds, they're going to think, we're going to give it to this guy because he wasn't causing issues behind the scenes. And obviously, Dereck Chisora's got form when it comes to this kind of stuff, going back many, many years. Whereas Parker's a nice guy. So I suspect, I could be wrong, I can't make any accusations here. I don't want any judges sending me letters, right? I suspect that Joseph Parker being the nice guy and Dereck Chisora being the rebel, the bad boy, the guy who has been in trouble many times with the British Boxing Board of Control, I suspect that may have had an influence on at least one of the judges' scorecards. That's what I'll say. So the fight progressed. Parker was picking up more rounds. Chisora was noticeably very slow. I think it was the 11th round, which Parker, that might have been the biggest round for Parker, or the easiest round to score, where Chisora really did nothing in the round at all, and Parker was just able to stick and move and put combinations together. But then in the 12th round, Dereck Chisora landed some nice right hands early on in that round. Parker did come back somewhat, but I feel like Dereck Chisora's punch quality was better than Parker all the way through. I feel like he was landing the cleaner body shots. He landed the cleaner headshots. He didn't land that many headshots, but when he did land, they were usually clean. Whereas with Joseph Parker, they were often like cuffing shots where sometimes a fighter who has quick hands like Parker, it's similar to Amir Khan. He used to be like this in certain fights as well. He's throwing the shots so fast, he's not giving his opponent enough time to move their upper body into a position where he can catch them clean, if that makes sense. So Chisora's moving his head. Parker's throwing like 4 or 5 shots, and they're getting blocked by Chisora's elbows. If he would have staggered those shots, he could have landed clean. He could have thrown one, wait a split second for Chisora to move a little bit, then throw the other. Whereas he's just throwing them all at the same time. He's rushing his shots. That's the best way to describe it. He was rushing his punches. And therefore, he wasn't landing that clean to the head. He did land a few ones. There was some left uppercuts that landed from Joseph Parker. But overall, I feel like Chisora's punch quality was better throughout the fight. He did give away some rounds, as I say, because of the fact he had to take his foot off the gas. So, anyway, it ends up in a 12-round split decision win for Joseph Parker. Can I grumble at the result? A split decision win for Parker? It was a close fight. But I feel like Dereck Chisora has grounds for grievance this time. Last time against Alexander Usyk, I feel like Usyk won that fight. For me, he won that fight by at least 2-3 rounds. But this was not like the Usyk fight. And maybe people will better appreciate what Alexander Usyk did against Dereck Chisora. Because they were saying, he's not going to make it at heavyweight. He doesn't have the power, and so on. Usyk did a much better job against Dereck Chisora than Joseph Parker did. He didn't get dropped in the opening seconds of the bout. And in fact, he hurt Dereck Chisora in that fight. People questioning his punching power, he hurt him. And he won it more clearly than this. And for my money, Alexander Usyk also did a better job than Dillian Whyte did against Dereck Chisora. Obviously, Dillian Whyte knocked Dereck Chisora out in a rematch, but he was behind at the time of that knockout. So for me, Usyk handled him better than both those guys did. Just in terms of hit and don't get hit, he did a better job. So watch this space when it comes to Alexander Usyk. I think a lot of people are underestimating him because at heavyweight, they expect everybody to be a knockout artist. You don't necessarily need to be. There is room for fighters who are stick and move merchants, who are not out there looking for knockouts. So anyway, Joseph Parker struggled, I think it's fair to say, quite badly against Dereck Chisora. But he comes out with a split decision win. They're talking about a rematch. And they're talking about maybe having it on the undercard of AJ Fury. I mean, I'd see it again. It was a pretty entertaining fight. Joseph Parker knows better now what to expect. You could tell that he was feeling the effects of the fight in the post-fight interview. He said this guy's a very tough competitor and it was a real tough fight, but he seems up for the rematch. So, yeah, I'll watch that again. Maybe they can, with Tyson Fury, who's cool with Dereck Chisora, Anthony Joshua, of course, from the same amateur club as Dereck Chisora, with those heavyweights in the literal and actual sense involved, perhaps their sway could ensure that there isn't any politics that get mixed up with a Joseph Parker Dereck Chisora rematch by way of scoring. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm sure there are going to be loads of people who say that this was a robbery, that Dereck Chisora won clearly. I mean, I can't say he won clearly. I didn't score the fight round by round. The impression I had without scoring it, maybe I'll go watch the fight again and score it, but the impression I had is that I would have given it to Chisora. But maybe if I watch it and score it round by round, I'll think different. We'll see. But after the 12, the impression I had in the back of my head was Chisora's won this fight. Mainly because of the punch quality. Okay, he took some rounds off, but his punch quality was better than Parker. And there wasn't so much in it in terms of work rate. I don't know what the CompuBox numbers were, but it's not like there was a huge difference in terms of punches thrown and landed by both guys. So in a situation like that, I preferred the quality of War Chisora. And obviously, a fight is scored on a round-by-round basis. It's not scored on the overall impression that you have after 12 rounds without scoring it round by round. This is why I tell you, let me score it round by round when I watch it again, and then maybe I'll say something different. But the overall impression I had in my head was that Chisora did enough to win here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Chisora is now 32-11. So he's really racking up the losses. Doesn't seem to care. He said that he's going to keep going. He won't let these you-know-whats defeat him. He kind of took a swipe at Robert Smith and said he's just going to cause more problems, give them more headaches. Well, if he does give them more headaches, they'll probably give him more headaches. They'll probably send more judges to score it wide against him. And it's sad that it's that way, but I think that's just what you have to expect when you're dealing with human beings, right? If you rub people up the wrong way in a fight where things could be open to interpretation, they're going to use that to tell you what they think of you. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Joseph Parker getting a split decision win over Dereck Chisora. It was pretty much the fight I expected in terms of being rough and competitive, but I did think Parker would be able to establish distance a bit better. I don't know whether it was just a really small ring or whether Chisora's pressure was so effective and good that he made the ring seem small. Because it just seemed like Parker would take 2 steps and his back would hit the ropes already. So, I don't know. But either way, it was a decent fight. That's the main thing. It was entertaining, and I'll happily see it again. Hopefully next time, if it's a similar kind of fight, we don't get any scorecards like this. 116, 111 in favor of Parker, because that really doesn't make boxing look good. It doesn't make Matchroom look good. It doesn't make Sky look good. And by the way, everybody at Sky had Joseph Parker winning. I think it was Andy Scott who had Parker winning by quite a margin. Again, if Dereck Chisora is giving these kind of people headaches behind the scenes, you could expect that kind of thing from them. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide range of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&A sessions, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got a Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. There's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.